Welcome to Between the Reads, where Black books are shared and celebrated all year long. I'm your host, Audra Russell. There are so many great things going on this year as I continue to amplify Black stories, but I can't do it without your support. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/betweenthereads and becoming a member, or make a one-time donation at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Are you ready, boys and bros? Then sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Latrell R. Morris is the author of horror, science fiction, and thrillers, including Nova, The Executioner of Justice, and The Making of a Friend. South Florida was where Latrell was born and raised, but now she calls Central Florida home. Latrell has been writing since she was a wee little one, and during that time, her love for horror and science fiction movies manifested. When Latrell's not writing, she's crafting, playing puzzle and logic games, creating chaos in The Sims, and dilly-dallying around Florida theme parks. Latrell, welcome to Between the Reads.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad you're here. And you know, these logic games, do you play like Sudoku and that kind of stuff?
Yes, I figured out how to beat it. I know for some people it's kind of hard, but I'm just process of elimination, pretty much.
Yeah, it takes me a minute to get them Sudoku things started, but once I figure it out, then it's like boop, 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 but it takes me a good minute to pick it up, and then I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So let's get right to this juicy, suspenseful novel, your short story collection, Nova, The Executioner of Justice. Tell our readers what these stories are all about.
Okay, so Nova, she is basically a supernatural being. She's someone, well, I should say a being that sees everything that happens at night. So, you know how people try to do their dirty deeds in the dark? It's kind of what it's symbolizing. So she got fed up with people getting away with these dirty deeds, so she decided to enact her own justice in a very unique way. So it's kind of like she's an eye for an eye.
She's very much an eye for an eye. Now, what was the inspiration for the creation behind Nova? How did you come up with her?
Well, I'm somebody who likes fairness, and I don't like people getting away with things. So it kind of came from that. Plus, you know, I was laid off unfairly back in 2020. So it kind of manifests a little bit. So I kind of just put it on paper.
Okay.
But in a very unique way.
Yes. Very unique. Now, tell us more about Nova, the character you created.
So Nova, like I said, she's all about eye for an eye. She's no holds barred, kind of like an anti-hero. So she's been seeing a lot of things that's been happening happening that night. Like you have one character, her name is Beverly. That's the first story at Broken. She got herself into a little situation when it came with her son. Her son has disappeared. Nobody really knows what happened except Beverly and Nova. So Beverly's car breaks down on the side of the road, and Nova just magically appears. And then that's when stuff starts coming out and starts happening. So she's basically just someone like that. She's like, you're going to get your karma.
All I'm saying, y'all, is if this was real and Nova comes to visit you, just pack it up. Because you done. You're done. That's it. There's no explanations. There's no I'm sorry. Hang it up.
I will say, if you have somebody with you, like in the red room, maybe they can talk her out of it. So...
Which I did not agree with, ma'am. I was like, no. He needs to get his just desserts. I can't even say what I want to say because people need to experience, you know, I always try to talk about the books, but not so much that people are just like know everything that happens. But all I'm saying is you know it was a whole bunch of craziness going on in that basement. Kim had Stockholm syndrome. I'm like, sis, it ain't
Pretty
that
much.
much love in the world.
Right, exactly. I know when I was writing certain parts of it, I was just laughing because I'm like, yo, this lady is like, just, even though I'm the one writing it, I'm like, this lady is a badass. Like,
Like, I'm like, I don't know. I almost felt like Kim should have got it too. Like Kim and him should have
really?
just been taken out because I don't know. I don't know if she would really actually address her own demons or whether
Hmm.
she would just end up being an accomplice and like being the one that lures people into the house and then
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. She has some. I don't know. I was mad at that. I was like, wait a minute, no. Why you letting her walk away and not take care of this one?
Right. Right, right.
Because of all the... he was horrible. He
Yeah,
was
he
horrible.
was. And in a way, I tried to connect the stories together because Frank, who's the character in the Red Room, the male character, he is the brother of Henry, which is a late night drive, the rideshare
Mm-hmm.
driver. So,
Mm-hmm.
I tried to connect them a little bit.
Yeah, you did. But at least you took care of him. Like, okay, yeah, I'm glad Henry's done. But I mean, come on now. Yeah, I was like, no, we didn't need to be talked out of that one. I was a little hot with you for that one.
Really?
A little hot, a little hot. So now Nova has a very interesting way that she devours her prey.
Hmm.
As very creative and invented. How did you come up with that?
Well, I'm somebody who I like astronomy, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of thought of, see, I'm giving a little bit of spoilers right now. I thought of a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's why her skin turns completely black. And then
Okay.
sometimes you have the little sparkles, the spots.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's like basically sucking them in and drawing
Ah.
and taking their essence from them.
Yeah, because y'all, when you read the book, it's like her prey. The way that she gets them is like she does this thing and the room turns cold and they just like break apart and
Right.
then she just drinks them. It's like,
Right. And I think a little bit her name actually came from like supernova. Like I said,
mm-hmm.
I'm an astronomy nerd, so
Okay,
I
that
wanted to
makes
have a
sense.
little bit of
Okay,
space in it. Yeah.
all right, I got it.
Mhm.
I got it. Now, this I'm getting ready to pick on you. Get ready.
Okay.
The story of Roger, sis.
Uh-oh.
He doing all the dirt, and you gonna let his wife take some of the blow from that?
I mean,
Latrell,
sometimes you
Latrell.
can't always have a happy ending.
I mean, it ain't got to be a happy ending, but you could have given it to him and not her.
Both of them got it.
I know, but she wasn't doing nothing. Nova was saying how his wife was loyal and everything. How you gonna
Mhm.
get her all involved in it? Why she got to get sick?
Well, it's kind of the act of what he did has consequences more than just beyond the marriage part. So now, no, maybe she could, do something more, like sue him or something. I've heard of people doing, I don't know.
Latrell, come on now.
It happens. It'll be a better case for her for the divorce if it ever happens.
Is it at least curable? Cause
I
you didn't specify.
know, I know.
It better be curable.
Maybe.
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 I ain't reading no more of your books. This how you gonna be doing, folks? Gonna be frustrating the hell out of me. He the one that needs justice, not her.
Right. But remember, she was doing a favor for Karma. So Karma wouldn't have done it that way. But Nova's very different. Maybe the way you're saying is the way Karma would have done it.
But she's helping Karma out. So if she gonna help Karma out, she need to do things the way Karma does.
Maybe Karma didn't leave instructions.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, my sister was the same way with this story. She was just like, "What?"
Yes! Because she was taking care of the kids and being loyal and being a great wife and cooking and cleaning and supporting and then... I don't know, Latrell. I don't know.
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose to do a series of short stories when you wrote this instead of just doing like a full novel?
I guess I had so many different ideas in my head. I felt that it would be better if I just chose one character and then have her visit other people, because I had, like I said, a lot of stories, and I still have more stories for her. I'm working on part 2, but I felt it would have been better to just tell it, like just break it up like that, but still have it connected.
Okay. So are we going to see any more books with Nova in them, or is this it? We're done?
Oh no, at first it was just gonna be one book, but I got inspiration to start on part 2, and I've been working on it, and this time she's gonna go, I guess you can say, bigger.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could go much bigger than what she's done, but okay. Is it gonna be short stories again, and then they're all linked?
Well, I guess the main thing is how would I explain it? It's gonna be short stories, but it's gonna like pick up one after the other. So it'll still be, it'll be one story, and then she'll go into another part, and then that'll be another story. But it's all gonna take place at the same time.
Okay. Oh, that'll be. Do you have a working title that you want to share with us, or is that still a secret?
I'm still thinking of it.
Okay.
So I actually have a cover for it, but I'm still trying to think of if I like the title of it yet.
Okay. Are you gonna? When can we expect the cover reveal?
I would say next year, probably in the spring.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to that because Nova's my girl. I love Nova.
Oh my God. When my dad read it, he was like, "You have a very interesting way of writing." I think he was taken aback. He's like, "What's in my head?" I'm thinking like, he's like, "What's wrong with my baby girl? Because I don't remember you like this."
Hey, listen, that's what we do. I love it. I love Nova. She's that girl, and I want her on my side. I'm just saying. Nova's not the kind of chick that you want on your bad side, because you don't want to get on her bad side. Because, like I said, once she shows up, that's it. You're not explaining nothing. Because she got when the little notebook appears out of nowhere. And she starts reading you your rights.
Right.
That's it. You done.
Right.
It's all over. It's all over. I wish I had the magical powers that a little notebook would appear in front of me, and it would just have all the crimes somebody committed, because then I could just be like, I got the receipts, because Nova comes with the receipts. Nova's like, I got it all right here. So, and she tried to make them confess, but they want to always act like they don't know what she talking about. Like, come on now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just saying. Just fess up. I mean, she asking these questions. She knows something. She's trying to see if you going to confess it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Now, we did an interview for
Hmm.
my blog, Black Ink, and I asked you a question, which was, did the horror genre choose you, or did you choose it?
Right. And I really think that the horror chose me.
Hmm.
It was just, I don't know, for some reason, it's always been fascinating to me. Like, it's so out of the ordinary. I guess that's why I like it so much, because it's
Hmm.
not an everyday problem.
Hmm.
And me growing up in the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, and whatever, there was so many different horror movies. It was like it was taking over. My
Hmm.
favorite horror movie is Poltergeist, which deals with spirits and ghosts, and I love Freddy Krueger. And the way he goes about it is just very unique because it's not right there in your face. You're sleeping, you're vulnerable.
Hmm.
So it's always been something that's been fascinating to me.
Hmm. Both the movies, I had nightmares for weeks on end with both. I couldn't sleep.
Hmm.
I did. I had to sleep with the light on. It just, uh, especially. I mean, Freddy was bad, but I don't know. Something about Poltergeist just
Right.
that one really shook me. And the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I snuck to see it because my parents knew how I was, and they were like, "You're not going to see that movie." And I had somebody sneak me in.
Hmm.
I couldn't sleep. I kept having these bad dreams. Oh my gosh. I was like, this is one time I wish I had listened to my parents.
Right.
It was horrible. I still can't watch that movie today. I'm like, ooh,
Really?
no. Mm-mm. I mean, I could watch it, but then
Hmm.
I'm gonna be messed up for a little bit. Like,
Right.
mm-mm,
Yes, nothing like the original. The
mm-mm,
original is the best.
mm-hmm, absolutely.
And
Like,
it's
have you seen Halloween End?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm
Mm.
just ready for it to be over because I'm like, how many times can he come back?
True, but surprisingly enough,
Hmm.
it was pretty good. It was like a continuation of the most recent one that we thought it was going to end.
Okay.
So yeah,
Hmm.
it was really interesting the twist that they put on it. But I'm hoping Michael is done
Right. Yeah.
this time.
I think I kind of checked out like years ago with H2O. I was just like, okay, enough, enough, enough.
She said, "I'm done, huh?"
Pretty much, pretty much.
Ah. Now, why do you feel Black authors are important to the horror genre?
Growing up, I was considered a little different. And in our community, if you're not like everybody else, then you're kind of considered an outcast. And I feel like if you like something that's different or outside of the norm, you should be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be anything to hide. If you love it, why not flaunt it? And
Mm-hmm.
I would be the first person to tell anyone that, I mean, horror, science fiction, pretty much. I can't do certain things, but this right here definitely is my thing. And I also think of a lot of the apprehension comes from religion because certain
Absolutely.
things like, oh, this is evil and all this, and I'm just like, it's just entertainment.
If I could tell you how many people have been in my DMs with scriptures, people I don't even know, coming in my DMs, leaving scriptures
Mhm.
and asking me why I'm, doing such demonic books. And I'm like,
Right,
I don't even answer them. I just delete them and block them because they're like, first of all, it's not demonic, it's
right,
horror. And second of all, really, it's not that serious. My
right,
soul,
exactly.
my soul is not in question. And these people that are up here, touting all this stuff, probably gonna bust hell wide open one day. And just saying, like,
Right,
come on now,
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's a genre just like anything else.
yeah, entertainment. And I've been lucky not to have anyone in my DMs saying anything like that.
This is the first year because I this is the third year that I've done it, and I
Hmm.
never had any problems. But this year, I've been getting at least one a week. People in my
Oh,
DMs.
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, come on now. I don't even respond to it. I just block them and keep it moving.
Right, right.
I don't have
Wow.
time. I don't have time.
Exactly, exactly. That's crazy.
It
Wow.
is.
Let people enjoy stuff.
Right. Exactly. So, what's the weirdest thing someone has said to you when you tell them the kind of stories you write?
Um, Mainly I've heard people someone said to me, I didn't know black people like that stuff. Yeah,
Really?
I've heard that before.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And
Well,
I
that was.
think it may have to do with like what's going on as well, because if you look at in the horror genre or science fiction, it's dominant white male.
True.
So people may feel like, okay, black people aren't into that, but like I said in the questions when I returned them back to you, I grew
Mm-hmm.
up around Vampire in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
Tales from the Hood. I mean,
Right.
we enjoy that stuff. I wish
Mm-hmm.
more stuff like that came out. I'm glad for Jordan Peele
Mm-hmm.
who's bringing that back to the forefront.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. So now you are releasing part two of the Friend trilogy on
Yes.
November 8th.
Hmm.
Tell our readers what that series is about.
Okay, so the Friend trilogy is basically it's science fiction. It is about a robotic engineer. So her company is pressuring her to get out the next best thing. And it's the year 2025 and there's like an epidemic of loneliness. It's gotten worse throughout the years. So she decides to come out with a therapy robot and her company greenlights it. She works on a prototype with two of her junior engineers,
Mm.
and they're working through it, and then stuff starts to go wrong with the prototype. It starts to, I guess, take on a mind of its own,
Okay.
and I guess it kind of delves a little bit into horror at the end of part one,
Okay.
and but the whole theme has to do with loneliness.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And how did you come up with that?
Delving from a little bit from my experience.
Okay.
Like for me, writing is kind of therapeutic. So
Mm-hmm.
with, I wanted to tell a story about something that a lot of people actually go through. I know last I heard was like a little over 30% of Americans now,
Mm-hmm.
deal with loneliness. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought of, okay, what kind of story can I tell
Okay.
with this? And that's how that came about.
Okay. Yeah, and I know a lot of people were dealing with loneliness, during this
Mhm.
pandemic. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right, right.
a lot of people got stuck, quarantining alone. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So, what does being an indie author mean to you?
It means having that creative freedom to tell the stories that I want to tell.
To the point.
Right, exactly, exactly.
All right. And if a reader just discovered your books,
Hmm.
which would you recommend that they begin with first and why?
Hmm. I would probably say maybe start off with the making of a friend, just
Okay.
not to scare them a little bit too much, because they might go, "What in the world is Nova?" If they're not a horror fan. If
Right.
you're a horror fan, you lean more towards that area, then yeah, start off with Nova. But if you want something a little more tame, the
Mm-hmm.
making of a friend definitely.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. And how would you describe your writing style overall in your books?
Hmm. I guess I like a little seriousness mixed with a little bit of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to keep it, the whole plot is definitely going to be serious, but I like to throw in little comedic things in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when Nova in the basement, and he fessed up, and she was like, "He cares about you so much that he did this."
Right.
And she had her hands on her hips. I totally saw that whole gesture in my. I was like giggling, but also like my eyes are like, you know, but I'm also laughing. That was like two whole different emotions. But
Right.
that was so funny the way she was like, he cares so much about you. This is what he did.
Right.
Which is another reason why I was like, no. We do not need to be talked out of. Let Nova handle it. Kim, shut up.
She has a little bit of heart. Very, very little.
I don't think she should have used it. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So where can readers find your books?
Well, they can find my books at my website, latrellrmorris.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Blurb.
Okay. And where can we find you on social media?
I am on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook is going to be Latrell R. Morris author, and everything else is going to be at Latrell R. Morris.
See that, y'all? She got the same thing across all the platforms. Nice and easy to remember.
Right.
So you don't have to try to remember all these different names. And if you've forgotten any of this, you can go to readblacktome.com, click on her interview, and all of her social media stuff is right there in the article. And it's a great article. You should go read it. And we have come to the end of our show, ma'am. I want to thank you so much for coming here and spending your time and talents with me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, this was an absolute pleasure. And Booze and Bros, you know how I do. At the end of every show, I give you a quote, and today it comes from the author Colson Whitehead, and he says, "Justice may be slow and invisible, but it always renders its true verdict in the end."
Oh, yes.
Next time, you know what to do. Grab a book and read, and I'm out. You've been listening to Between the Reads. I'm your host, Audra Russell. Thanks for lending me your ear. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting this independent podcast by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/betweenthereads or making a one-time donation at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. That's www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Tune in next week for another great episode.